My daughter smashed the screen on her iPad.
And I didn't even yell at her. Let's dive a little deeper. Now this happened when my middleest kiddo was 4, and I know a lot of you might be wondering, why did your 4-year-old have an iPad? Well, I gave it to her, and this isn't even really about the iPad. It's not the first time a big ticket item has been broken in our home. Just a few years prior, a water bottle took a heroic flight across the living room and smashed our TV. Unfortunately, I have experience dealing with this kind of situation. Honestly, I don't see kids having access to technology as inherently bad. We monitor content more than we monitor screen time. I mean, my middleest kiddo taught herself to read when she was in kindergarten using technology. It's not all bad. It can be. I leave space for that, but technology is a part of our life and accidents happen.
It wasn't an accident, but it was a mistake.
Really sit with that thought, reflect on it. We've all done the wrong thing and really messed up. It wasn't an accident, it was a mistake. And we learn from mistakes.
She was upset and she impulsively hit the screen with an Xbox controller, not knowing that would break it.
Now remember, this happened when my daughter was 4. She got mad and hit something. That's age appropriate. There was no thought to regulate her feelings. There was no thought, just action. And unfortunately, this action was destructive.
Either way, I was mad. I was really mad.
What's funny to me about the story now is I don't even remember what she was doing. Like, she could have been on the iPad and got mad and grabbed the controller from next to her and went whack, or she could have been holding the controller trying to use our old Xbox that doesn't work right. It's just a Netflix machine, and she might have got frustrated and the iPad was nearby and then she went whack. It doesn't really matter. Either way, that anger I had at the time, I can't access it anymore. It isn't there. What I remember is our interactions after, how I reacted, and I feel good about it.
So I didn't react. I didn't say a word. I put the iPad away and I took some time to myself to consider how to handle the situation.
Now, this is one of the most important rules I have for myself as a parent. If it's not an emergency, I don't have to react right away. If everyone is safe, I can wait to respond. And speaking from experience, the times that I have responded poorly, I do remember those bad feelings. I remember how my kids reacted to me, and I feel guilt about how I handled those situations. So when something happens, because something will happen, that's a part of parenting, that's a part of life, I take a step back and I think, what do I do next? How do I handle this situation? This is partially rooted in my own experiences growing up. My parents were very reactive and over the top, and not in a kind, loving, and respectful way. So when I'm faced with a new situation in parenting, if it's overwhelming or triggering, I think to myself, what do I do here? And then I think to myself, well, what would my parents do? And then I scratch that off the list. I put it on its own list of things I would never do, and then I'm faced with whatever options I have left. And then I think, well, what option would best suit this specific child in this specific situation? I have 3 kids, and they are wildly different people, so I tailor my responses to what each child would best respond to.
I realized that the root of my anger was the value of the iPad. I also realized that 4-year-olds have no concept of monetary value.
Now, this was an important realization for me. Children do not understand money or monetary values, so whether it be an expensive piece of technology or an LOL doll, they hold similar value in young minds. They're just things they like. But as parents, we do understand the difference. So sitting with that thought, what would my response be if she broke a Barbie? Well, I'd probably just console her over her broken toy. That tracks. But when it came to the iPad being broken, oh, I was mad, and I was mad because of how much it cost, which is valid for me as an adult. But if I communicated that to my 4-year-old, hey, I am very mad because of money, would she understand what that really meant? Probably no. This was a big lesson for me. I needed to take more steps to keep expensive things safe, because when it comes to kids, things are more likely to get broken. Now, I couldn't have predicted how this iPad would have gotten broken, but I could have prevented the situation from being possible.
To a 4-year-old, a Barbie is comparable to an iPad. So instead of discussing the value with her, I discussed with her why we should take care of things we value.
If we break something when we're mad, it's still gonna be broken when we're not. That's a sentence my kids have heard countless times. It's a gentle reminder when emotions run high that you're not always gonna feel this way, but if you break your things, you're gonna continue to feel bad about that. I regularly talk to my kids about how we take care of the things that we value. We keep things off the floor, we put things away, and if we're feeling upset, we take some space, we walk away.
And as a natural consequence to her action, she's lost the iPad. I'm not gonna rush to go get it fixed.
Now, I didn't get the iPad fixed for months, maybe closer to a year. The iPad is a privilege, not a right, and I certainly don't have money to keep getting things fixed because of big feelings. So it wasn't a priority, and she was fine without it. And when the iPad came back into our lives, we had new rules, boundaries, and systems in place to make sure this situation never happened again. And to be clear, it's been years, and it has not happened again.
Since it happened, we've had multiple short conversations about being responsible and how to handle our feelings without hurting anyone or anything.
These are also regular conversations I have with my kids. We go over coping mechanisms, we go over breathing techniques, and we all have our favorites. I personally like square breathing. That's where you imagine a square and you're gonna breathe in while you're going along one edge, you're gonna get to a corner, hold your breath, and then you're gonna breathe out while you're going down the square. And you just keep going around your square till you feel a little better. My oldest kiddo, she likes this finger technique where you breathe in when you trace up your finger and you breathe out when you go down your finger, and you breathe in and you breathe out and you breathe in and you breathe out. And my youngest, we like to do this. Okay, this right here, I am holding some fresh cookies. We're gonna smell the cookies and then we're gonna blow out the candle. And that's gonna help regulate our nervous system. And we go over other coping mechanisms too, like asking for help, asking for a hug, or finding something to distract ourselves with, whether that be drawing a picture, reading a book, watching a movie, all healthy coping mechanisms. And we also go over some things we shouldn't do, like hitting, or being mean and screaming, or breaking an iPad.
I was mad and I had every right to be mad. That's why I took a break.
Parents are allowed to be mad. We're allowed to have big feelings, and we shouldn't hide them from our kids. Our kids are learning to cope from watching us cope. And if we handle things with emotional maturity and hold ourselves accountable when we fail to do so, we're setting a great example for our children.
I always try to parent with purpose, so I knew I needed to calm down so that I could talk to her and teach her instead of punish her for a mistake.
You know, I never liked the term gentle parenting. Gentle parenting has this negative connotation that often gets confused with permissive parenting. I actually never knew I was a gentle parent until I got on the internet and started talking about my parenting. Either way, I consider myself a respectful, intentional parent. I choose what I do and how I react with purpose. I choose to prioritize my kids' feelings and emotional well-being. Kids are new at being people, and I want to teach my kids to be good people. Anyway, thanks for being here, friends. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell. You know the drill. I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.